Hey, what's up? Welcome to My Favorite Lyrics. It's the podcast where we talk about music lyrics, except for when we're talking about other stuff. We got a very, very special guest today. He's somebody that I've worked with personally on Saturday Night Live. Actually, for the listeners of the show, this is the first guest from Saturday Night Live that we've had. No cast.
Represent.
We've not had one cast member, not one writer.
Oh,
I was like,
man,
we got to get
in.
We'll do it eventually.
Start from the top.
We'll do it. Was like, I was like, yeah, I want to get somebody who works with music directly. He is the music director at SNL. He does all the original songs that you hear for the last several years. That was all this man. You guys, welcome, Eli.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me down.
Yeah,
I really,
Eli,
really appreciate
Eli,
being here, man.
Thanks for being here.
You since you arrived on the 17th floor at 30 Rock, you've been nothing but a cool breeze.
I try. I do my best.
Yeah, no beefs with anybody. Just an amazing guy.
Damn, yeah. Fortunately, me and Eli have got along very well. Eli was also one of the people behind one of my favorite things that I've gotten to do on the show, which was the British rappers Millie Pounds and Shirty. Millie Pounds and Shirty.
That's so funny. I love how you guys are able to make fun of something whilst playing homage to it, doing it right. So I
very much something that we like really appreciate. I mean, I actually love British rap. I think it's so fun, but it also is very silly to me.
Yeah.
It's guys who are talking about doing hard shit, but in kind of like a cute accent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And they still read over there too.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're coming up with words. Americans be like, it's like, wow, these cats have an actual vocabulary.
Vocabulary is a little bit wider,
Yeah.
but then also they can't have guns, so they got to talk about slashings. You'll get slashed. Catch you with the mismatch. Like, they're just sort of, it's very, I like the music, but it is kind of silly stuff.
Yeah, still violent, very violent.
Very violent. They still are talking about fucking you up, but just in like a way that like you got a blade cut on the side.
Yeah.
It's not quite, you might be punctured a little bit. There's this show on Netflix called Supercell, this British show. And one of the subplots is that there's these like street gangs who are running around. But it is funny. They're like real like UK gangsters, but like all of them literally have knives and holsters. They have blades and holsters that they put when it's time to fight. They literally go like on guard like pirates. And I was like, well, I can't. You're not as scary. I still don't want to run into you.
Like looks like more of a dance battle.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, now we're just gonna fence. Now you're gonna fence me to death. It's not doing the same thing.
I mean, if you can succeed at that though, there's a lot of skill. If I respect somebody that can handle a knife fight more than someone that's just blasts a bunch of motherfuckers.
That's true. Hey, you know what? British gangsters, if you're listening to this podcast, and I know that you are, we appreciate you.
Y'all hard as fuck.
You hard as fuck. We're sorry for the slander that Americans have placed on you. We don't want no issues. We don't want no beef. I'd like to come to London. I like to do shows.
Yeah.
Please don't hit me with the slashings. Please don't bring a blade out on me in any type of capacity. It's all love. It's all love.
Yeah. Those weekend update things, they're not laughing at you, they're laughing with you.
We're laughing with you.
Yeah.
Shout out to Millie Pounds and Shirty.
So great. Yeah, please bring that back.
We've tried.
Yeah.
We tried.
You know what's funny, man? I don't remember. I always feel bad whenever I'm talking to SNL writers, and I know you guys have every week. You have these little babies that you birth, and sometimes they get on, sometimes they don't. And I'm not like really fighting the battles. I'm just like no matter what it is, I'm just trying to make whatever you need as good as possible. So I don't remember if something got on or not.
That makes sense. Because it's like because no matter what, you got stuff to do every single week. There are songs to put together. There are things that you gotta. Eli, for the people that don't know, like Eli sometimes will like play the track like live, don't you?
Yeah. There's different. Yeah, for. It's either the band playing with the cast, or it's I make a track, or and then our music editor Tyler will launch it back from the booth. So that happens in one of those two ways.
Yeah.
And then we have a table read too, where it's everybody jams into a room, and I'm triggering all the tracks and playing piano and stuff. That Wednesday is always my crazy day because it's 40 sketches in one day.
And so many of them have like different music and
at least 10 of them have something that I got to do usually, and a lot of stuff comes in right before you got to rehearse with the host, so it's kind of like you're just shooting from the hip.
Yeah, and that's a big thing I feel like that people maybe don't know about what's happening behind the scenes. People know about the writing process, obviously. People know about the table read, but people don't know like if you want to write a song, you're having to come up with all the song lyrics, and then you have to like translate musically what you want to do to Eli, who like really then like brings it all. And sometimes we'll literally just be like, yeah, so like maybe a jazz song that's about like milk. So we're trying to do something like that. So something that sounds like that, and then Eli will go away, and then like a couple hours later, we'll come back with like a fully formed song that you can use. You know?
Yeah. Fortunately, right now, there's a lot of writers who have great musical vocabulary. They write songs themselves, and then they'll bring stuff to me. And those writers are really good touch points for the other writers that have a great joke, but they don't know how to put it into songs. So you've
got like a Dan Bulla,
or like Streeter or Allison Gates. There's just a lot of musical talent in the writers' room right now. James Austin Johnson, yeah, brilliant. I mean, it just makes it so much easier when there's another dog pulling the sled.
Yeah, I mean, how many years have you been at the show now?
I've completed 14 seasons.
Who was, when you started 14 years ago, who was also starting around that time at SNL?
No one was starting. People were kind of wrapping it up. It was Wiggs last year, Andy's second to last year, Sudeikis' second or third to last year. And I remember the first day, Andy and I had known some people in common before I started the show, and I approached him about that. Gave some high fives, and then I was like, so any advice for me? And he just deadpans me in the face, and he's like, just do what we want.
I mean, I guess that
it's so Andy too, but it's exactly what the gig entails. It's like just do what the writers need to do. Give them their swords and their helmets and their shields, and they go out into battle.
And I'd imagine you and Andy probably cooked up.
We cooked up a couple, yeah. It was kind of towards the end of their run. Akiva and Yorma weren't there when in Andy's last couple years, and also they had signed to Universal, and they had their pick of these top shelf
record deal.
yeah. So like their beats were completely slapping by then. Listen to their shit though, like back in 2006 with your 2025 ears on. It's pretty trash, man. It was
shots fired. Whoever put together those beats.
But no.
Fuck you.
I think it was.
Fuck you. You're not doing what Eli could do. If Eli would have been in there, that shit would have been going way crazier.
Apples and oranges, motherfuckers. That for the comedy, it was exactly what it had to be.
Yeah. It also was, part of the charm of that period of time was like making something like super lo-fi.
Yeah, DIY. Yeah. And the shooting was like that too. Like everything. But like fast forward to 2025, like what are we even doing?
Now we're making movies.
Yeah, 15 CGI dudes working overnight on Friday.
And like back then it was truly just like people who were there at that time talk about like they were literally like they had cameras, like handheld cameras, and they were just shooting stuff like in the street. There was no extras. There was no like. Yeah. It was really, and from what I talked to Akiva about this, and he was telling me that like the way that they did those videos was basically that they completely went and shot them on their own on Tuesday. Like it was not because sometimes like there's just to peek behind the curtain, there's like a version of doing pre-tapes where it's like you write an entire script out and then you like write the like stage directions and like the camera stuff that you need, and then they read it at table, and then if it like does well at table, then it gets made. But then there's another version which like I appreciated, and like I did a little bit this year, where it's just like, just like make a little scene, like just make a scene, show the people what it would look like, let them watch it, and then like go from there. That's how I heard they like developed it, and
probably with shoestring budgets too. Like they weren't.
I would imagine nothing.
50th of what they're doing now.
Well, yeah.
But the comedy still shined through it because it was 2006, and everything that we do is made for the day that it airs. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like you couldn't do stuff like that now.
No. People be like, "What the fuck is this?"
And I think if you'd magically gone back in time with the technology that we have now and go back to let's redo Lazy Sunday, in like with CGI in it, it would not be as funny.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like art in general can be like that, where it's like hard to go back to doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. It's not better or worse.
It's just like it grows.
And it changes. You write differently. Like now that we have these CGI things, we've been doing these amazing things with puppets and CGI. Yeah. Like the last year the Pip thing,
Little Mouse,
and the like the tiny horse things.
Oh yeah.
Like, so you write into the technology, which is actually an interesting bridge into songwriting, because the technology has changed over the last 125 years. And it changes the way that people write, because they're not just writing like whatever thought comes in their head. They're writing for something. There's a reason that they're writing. There's a medium that they're writing into, whether it's phonograph, radio, or a film soundtrack. And so like what you're writing for kind of affects what words you choose and like how you approach songwriting.
That makes sense. That makes a ton of sense. And I feel like you can kind of see. Do you feel like generally people are like writing up to the level of the technology that exists for them? Because is that why like when you listen to a song that came out in the 80s, it is so apparent like this is the 80s, and you can hear it so clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. With any era, it's there's the audio techniques. There are it's laid bare. You can kind of anyone who can kind of hear that. If you hear a Phil Spector tune from the 60s, it's it's from the 60s because of the sound. Now we're able to kind of recreate those environments, and so it's a different aesthetic it's a different thing when you have unlimited choices. That affects a lot of stuff. But I forgot the question. I got so many thoughts about this stuff because I'm just like I'm speaking from like my unconscious. The world of music has shifted so much over the course of my career, and I'm just here to testify about it.
That's what's up, man. So I mean, to that point, like, how did you tell us about like the process of you like becoming the music director at the show? Because I know about like the way that I get to the show. I know the way that like writers and cast members get to the show, but like if you're going in through music, like what's that route?
I think it's similar, actually. I think it's very similar. Comedy and music, the way that we start doing it is we start humbly in front of our families, in front of very small audiences of friends in college, and we don't grow up in isolation as artists. We grow up in communities. And so for me, it was just a matter of going to the places where the musicians were showing up. I was trained classically, all the, jazz, blah, 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 playing bands in high school, jam with my friends, just like everybody. But then it comes time when you're about 20, 22, where you're like, okay, am I going to actually do this? And I got nudged. I wouldn't have done it because people say, to prove anybody wrong. Like people were like, yeah, encouraging me, and without that, I think I probably would have done something far more boring.
Was there any other path that you were like looking at? Was there ever a time where you were like, oh, I might?
I went to UC Berkeley, and I played collegiate volleyball with them, and
wait, what?
Yeah, I know I'm not that tall. I'm like 6'1", but I had some bounce back in the day.
Whoa, this is
and
brand new information. I did not know that Eli was a college athlete.
So I got my ass whooped against many future Olympians. So
because those like college volleyball dudes are like 6', 7", and they're like jumping crazy.
Yeah, now the game is on a whole other plane of reality.
Yeah.
But so I thought I was gonna be a coach. I thought it would be cool to be like a band, a high school band teacher, and a volleyball coach, or I also played basketball too. Maybe basketball or baseball or something. But I love the camaraderie of teamwork, and it was always like there's a deep connection between teammates who played together for 4 years. Very similar to like the kind of connection that you have with your fellow cast members.
Yeah.
Like you're going through it with everybody, and yeah, there's just millions of analogies between sports and entertainment, and especially my job at SNL, which sometimes I gotta like yell at Kim Kardashian to get her ass over there.
Yeah, Hey. So Eli, specifically, when you landing at the show, was it a thing where you reached out to the show?
No, I did a recording session with Jared Scharf, the guitar player for the SNL band, and when they were having auditions for the piano player who had been experiencing some health issues, they were looking for a replacement, and I came and auditioned because that was recommended by Jared. Met Linney. Had like a 3-hour hang with him, which up in the office on 17, which was crazy for me. But we had a lot of things in common. I share a birth date with his son. He grew up in Berkeley. I spent many years of my life in Berkeley. He used to tour back in the 70s with the band that I was touring with currently at the time called Mandrill. It's like a legendary funk band from the 70s. And so we just connected on our musical influences. We jammed a lot. And then I left, and then he called me a month later, say I didn't get the gig. But we talked for another 45 minutes. So it was like, okay, what's going on here? This is strange. Yeah. And then like 6 months later.
He was like, hey man, you're not gonna work here, but like, let's get some lunch, bro.
Dude,
we all hungry. Everybody hungry in here. You unemployed and hungry. but we all would like to eat something.
And I think it's because at the time there was a lot of uncertainty with where things were going with my predecessor, and it was Catrice Barnes is a brilliant musician who was suffering from cancer at the time, and there was a question whether she'd be able to do it or not, and so they didn't know whether to hire me for a solid 8 months, but they were just kind of calling me every couple months, and I was like, this is the weirdest. Imagine if people did that to you.
You know what's funny is as much as I was like, oh, it's got to be a whole different process for music than it is for the writers and the cast.
It's the same shit.
This exact same. I've heard stories like this happening to people.
Yo.
Like almost exactly the same way.
And then they call you 2 weeks before the season. They're like, yeah, can you be here Tuesday? You're like, what?
It's actually the exact same process. Yes, I've known people who have gone through that. I've known people who have been auditioning Bowen talked about it in the documentary where Bowen auditioned for 4 straight years before he actually ended up on the show. And I've had other friends who who the show basically is like, all right, well we like you, but there's not a spot for you yet. But but probably next year, and then maybe it's probably next year, and then some of them it's like, oh no, it doesn't work out, and then some of them my buddy Gere was back and forth with them for years, and then ended up working at the show for years.
Yeah,
so
it's funny.
It's actually the exact same.
But
thing.
It's got to be like that, man. Yeah, it's because the show is now. The show doesn't plan ahead. If it were plan ahead,
it's today. It's like what happened. I mean, you've seen it with cold opens where it's literally there'll be one cold open on Friday, then or on Thursday, and then something might happen on Friday. That cold open gets scrapped, and it's a brand new one for Saturday.
It's so much fun when that happens. I love.
I'm glad you feel that way because I'll be scared as hell.
I know. You guys got to stick your necks out there
because it'll truly be hey, for us we'll get a text at 11 p.m. on Friday and be like, hey, you've been added to the cold open, and then you'll be like, oh, what am I doing? And they'll tell you, and it'll be an impression that you've never done before, a person that you've never even thought about in your life, and they're like, you're playing this tomorrow. So you know what I mean? And so for us, it's shit.
Yeah, but the band gets a little bit of that too. Sometimes there's been a cut, jump from letter B to letter C, then go back to bar 64, play the there's a lot of in the moment, but something happens, man. There's magic because it's like if TV is like a well or like a water spring, like SNL is like putting your mouth right up to the spring, or like drinking from the hose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're planning ahead and dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's, it doesn't become now. It becomes something that you prepared for.
Yeah.
And the genius of that show is that anything could happen. And we feel your nerves. Yeah. We don't see them. You guys hide them really well, but it's like rocket fuel for comedy. Yeah. And for because the comedy happens between your mouth and the audience's ears. It's like in the middle somewhere. Yeah. And it when you have that focus of so many people on that one moment, it's superior to anything else in the arts.
I will say to the exact point that you're talking about, and this is not a new thing that I'm saying. This is a thing that a lot of people have talked about, but I feel like the show's so hard and so stressful. But when you catch those special moments, you catch them in a very different, because I feel like there's screen acting, where it's okay, it depends on how it all gets edited together and the lighting and all these things. But I feel like in those moments with like live comedy, and stand-up can feel this way too, when it's like, when it really connects, when it really hits, like all that pressure goes away and you're just like, it's just like bliss.
It's free.
You're
it's
like,
freedom.
we made something that
you get
like,
lighter.
Yeah. I'm like, we when it all comes together, I mean, and look, there's way more times where we're like, well, that didn't work. Like that happens all the time. But like every now and again, you catch a moment where you're just like, oh, we really made something 2 days ago that's like connecting with like the live audience and then like millions of people watching at home. It's really cool.
It's a blessing to be able to take part in it. And to take part in anything, I think that's live is very special today because now we got AI. Like AI is coming in and can do anything that's already been done before. It can combine things that have been done before and put these amazing polished things. But the moment that I know that something is AI, I'm like, okay, cool, but it's the same as like having sex with a robot. Like, will eventually we be able to fuck robots and it's gonna be the most amazing sex of your life? Yes. But I still doubt.
And let me know if you guys have that technology available. I'm not saying I'm gonna use it, but I like to know about it.
Just for research purposes.
For research purposes. I'm a scientist.
So like listening to music on headphones is the same thing. It's like having sex with a really thick condom on. Like you are having sex technically, but the person who made that thing is not showing you their work. There's a distance between you and the person who created it. On SNL. It's like, you know,
it's the real thing.
It's the real deal. Yeah, there's no condom. There's no. You are raw dogging comedy. Sorry, Lauren.
It's okay. I'm sure he's probably said that exact same sentence before.
I mean, if the show weren't live, you wouldn't need me.
I've seen people like write articles about like, oh, well, they should just like pre-tape all the sketches.
Well, we do.
You
get two or three.
Yeah, there's a couple
week.
pre-tapes, but like some people have been like, everything should be pre-taped.
Hell no.
And I'm like, then it's not the show. You know what I'm saying? One live is in the name, but like, I don't think the moments get captured in the same way.
Yeah, I'll say even when we're doing pre-tapes, I don't like using anything beyond take 3 or 4, and I think most of the times with comedians, especially when one of you guys writes the piece, it's first or second take. Pete never. I don't think anything you ever heard of Pete on any of those pre-tapes was ever more than the second take. He's always just in and out. Chris Red, same thing. Most of the time, what you're hearing is fresh because if it's not that, then you don't get the SNL ethos. You're not feeling like it's shooting from the hip.
Yeah. Should we dive into a couple of lyrics?
Yeah, let's go.
Should we dive into a couple of lyrics?
Which ones?
Let's see. Eli, I will say, I like, because Eli is such a student of the game. He's such a student of music. He's a trained musician. I wasn't sure what he was going to be bringing in, and the fact that this lyric got brought into the game.
Oh yeah,
I didn't see it coming. Do you want to read it for the people?
Yeah. Talk your shit, bite your lip, ask for a car while you ride that dick.
Yeah.
Look, I was actually doing it to the microphone. Yeah, hold on. Talk your shit, bite your tip, ask for a car while you ride that dick.
Whoa.
Ooh, I mean, it's one of the greatest things. There's a funny story.
This is WAP.
This is WAP by the great Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
My kids, when this came out, were about 12 and 14.
Okay.
And I was like, kids, I think you're ready to hear this.
Whoa.
I pulled over to the side of the road.
Was it the
I remember it was right by Prospect Park
version or
nope?
No, all of it.
I was like, kids, you need to. I mean, they grew up in New York, so they know they know they know what talk your shit, bite your lip means. And
every New York City kid does.
And I was like, this like I just listed all the reasons why this is great art. It's just it is the highest level of popular music. That the whole beat. With that sample cycling through, the minimalism of the beat, how you can crank it up in the car and still be having a conversation with people. That's what I love about modern hip hop. And the lyrics are just they're like anti-lyrics. They're lyrics that are meant to just pummel the zeitgeist with from every direction. It's a volcanic explosion of fucking sexual nonsense. It makes sense, but it's like the reason that they wrote this song was be like, all eyes on me.
Yeah,
and they did it.
They really did it.
And what I love about this lyric is that there's no lies in it. Like talking dirty and sexually and using creativity to discuss sex is something that humans thirst for.
Sure.
And when I was growing up, it was done in a lot more of a kind of beat around the bush way, than pun intended, you know.
Well, hey yo,
because you would just you wouldn't even be in the zeitgeist if you came with something that hard.
Right. It wasn't. It wasn't quite accepted to do it, so you had to hide it a little bit more.
A little bit, but then you look back at the gangster rap stuff, and that stuff blew our minds. I was in 6th grade when NWA came out.
We didn't know that people could talk like this on the track.
Yeah, it was shocking, and when we first heard it, we thought it was a comedy record. I thought Eazy-E's record was a comedy record. Like it was like, no, this isn't. How is this possible? Or like a 2 Live Crew kind of was a little bit more comedy.
A little more tongue in cheek.
Yeah. It kind of done with it. It's kind of like being dirty with women, but like in the bedroom as opposed to like in the streets. Like the NWA was like, I couldn't believe that they were saying that stuff. But if you look at WAP, and like the way that the feminine side of hip hop started to embrace it back in the 90s was interesting. But like now it's like these girls, Cardi B and Meg just blew the roof off of it.
Right.
How could you write a dirtier song than that?
I don't know. Someone will figure it out.
So
how did it go when you played that for your kids in the car? What was anybody like? Was either of your kids like, Daddy, what's macaroni in a pot? Did they ever ask that?
Yeah, I think they probably got about they got the hook for sure. That's and I think it was ill advised actually in retrospect.
I like that as a father. You were like, my kids are ready to hear this. Let me pull over the whip. I'm gonna play it for them. And then you played it for him, and then you were like, in hindsight, that's a decision that I probably shouldn't have made. I take that. I'd like to rescind that moment from my children.
Yeah,
we should have waited a few years.
But part of being a good parent is like understanding when you've made a mistake and owning up to it.
That's so funny.
But like like my commentary, a lot of it had to do with the musicality of it, and I think that aspect it landed on them.
That
like the aspect of like listen to how her phrasing, she's changing up her phrasing and like da 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 da. I mean that
your kids
is
probably have a deeper musical education than like the average child.
And a lot of. I love it when hip hop comes full circle stylistically. It takes a journey through the United States. Like it all comes, all black music comes from the South, the Caribbean, and then it travels up the Mississippi, blue, goes over to Chicago, New York, and like someone like Cardi B, who has this she's speaking in half Spanish, half English, but like when she's using Afro-Caribbean rhythms inside of her flow, it's like it feels like the whole thing just kind of came full circle. We went to we went up the Mississippi in the 1900s, came over to New York, then back down. Now we're back in the Caribbean, and Bad Bunny's done the same thing.
Yeah,
it's like he's making like highly black influenced pop music but speaking in his own language completely naturally, and it just makes sense musically. Everything is so beautiful.
He's a guy, Bad Bunny's a guy who he's been at the show a decent amount since I've been there, and he did the 50th concert.
Yeah.
And he's been one of my favorite people to see, just like on a musical level and like on a set design level. That's actually one of my, neither of us work in this department, but like seeing the way that people can because it's all the same stage. They all have the same parameters to like work with. It's so cool to see like what people can do creatively with that space. And I feel like he always like finds a way to do something cool with it.
It's also interesting to see how certain stars like handle the task. Like, you know, we asked Bad Bunny to come in and record on the Airplane song that PDD did, and it was interesting to see him internalize it. Like, you play the track for them, they listen to it, and I'm like, does he like it? Does he not like it? Is he not going to do it? He listened to it like 5 times, and I was like, okay, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And then he, after the middle of the 5th time, he's like, okay, like he's like, I got it.
Yeah.
And then just goes and just does exactly what he had been imagining. And so that's the way Bad Bunny works. Other people like need to get into it. I remember with Post Malone, he's like, just roll it. Yeah, let's go. And he sang a couple first takes, like, oh no, it's the wrong fucking note. Like, let's do it again. Like, it was also cool. He had his beer guy like right outside, and then he's like, hold on one second. He's like, hey yo, Dale, beer me, and a beer just flies in, and he just catches the beer. Pounds the beer.
It's cool. It's cool when famous people are exactly the way that you imagine that they would be.
Yeah.
And that's the way that I would imagine. I haven't crossed paths with Post, but
yeah,
I would imagine he'd be like that.
In the moment, just kind of like having fun with everybody.
And hand me a beer.
Yeah, hand me a beer. But everybody works differently, so it's interesting to kind of be almost, I mean, I'm just kind of trying to be invisible in those kinds of situations, just, you know, talk when they need me to guide them and just kind of let them do their thing.
Yeah.
I got high as fuck when Lil Wayne came in and tracked something, because I didn't smoke anything, but he was just standing right next to me.
Oh, just like a contact high.
He was standing right here, like I get crazy, and he had a blunt with just like all kinds of crazy crystals or whatever.
Yeah. I imagine he's smoking weed that we don't got access to yet.
Yeah.
And
one of the coolest things that I ever had to do was record the
lighter
and the. I mean, I was like, pinch myself. He didn't do. I actually did it myself. I did the lighter, and then I did it myself.
Oh, you did? Okay.
And so that was his cues, because he knew where to come in.
Yeah, got you.
I remember Chris Red was like, yeah, you got to do that. You got to do that, man. You got to give it to him before he comes in.
That's important. Dude, I like that. That's really cool that you got to actually.
I got to do it. Yeah, I was on My Dogs. This was the name.
Yeah.
My bitch is my dog.
I like
that. About 8 years ago.
Let's move on to another lyric that we got here. This is a song by Lil Yachty, who's an artist that I really love, that I really enjoy. Every now and again, the music bookers will be like, "Oh, who do you guys like listening to? Like, who are you interested in?" I've suggested a bunch. Lil Yachty's the only one that I ever recommended that they were like, "Yeah, we'll have like." Oh, and also there's a lot of stuff behind getting these people on the show, so I know the bookers have a hard job. But like, I suggested Lil Yachty, and I was so happy to see that he got on the show. Do you want to go through a little bit of it's from a song called "Drive Me Crazy" by Lil Yachty.
Good love feels like butterflies suffocating your insides. Ooh. I love my mother, my sister, my daughter. All these hoes get slaughtered. Can't deny. Pray the Holy Father. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't really mean very much to me.
Well, how did this? What about this lyric? Gravitated you?
I wanted to talk more about Lil Yachty,
just as a guy.
Yeah. Well, see, really ever tricking, catch me slipping. That pussy would leak in I'm on mission, paying millions. I'm Ted DeBias. Don't know who that is. Oh God, out late night. I didn't even know he was saying this in that song. The song just feels it feels incredible.
Yeah,
and that's his contribution.
Yeah,
it's like some same thing like Fetty Wap. I remember hit me.
Yeah,
there's these kinds of singers that are like disruptors. Like they sing in a way that is obviously different, and that's what their brand is.
Yeah,
they're not trying to do anything remotely what anyone else does.
Right. They're like, this is what I do. This is what I'm bringing to the table.
And like when you're in this like ocean of music and possibilities, and everybody's a freaking AD DJ, you know, I don't even remember the last time my kids have shown me a song and listened to the whole song. 20 seconds in, they're just flipping. So like what's gonna catch people's attention now is like people singing in a way that's like, oh, what's that?
You're right.
And I remember Fetty Wap fucked me up like that, and then this cat.
Had you heard this specific song that he did? Okay, you knew this before he came to the show?
I I think so, yeah.
Got you.
My daughter had been playing me a lot of his stuff. She'd been talking about it, and it first hit my ear, and I was like, "This is trash." He's completely on top of the time.
Yeah.
How did they release this? Like honestly, from a musical standpoint, you could look at the waveforms of his audio file, and they would be too far to the left because he's coming in on the beat early, man. Like there's no way around that. But what's genius about that is that if you listen to rap from 2004 to 2000 now even, there's people laying way back on the time, like almost like laying so far back they're like Broadway musicians from the 50s, like literally a beat behind, and that kind of it creates a tension with the pulse of whatever the beat is, and it sounds dope. It's like what's someone that kind of lays back. Oh, I don't know, like Snoop Dogg lays back, like he's on the back side of the beat. Lil Yachty is like not musically on top of the beat, but it's genius because it focuses you into the lyrics because we know we're hearing it in the context of everything else is in our brain. And Fetty is like this, like the same thing, like not in a time sense, but in a texture of his voice, and like it's like, wow, that's really weird. How's he doing that? So I think like the modern world kind of lends itself to disruptors like this, and the next person that's going to be big is going to be another disruptor.
It's about like maybe understanding what the rules are and being like, oh well, I'm not going to follow that because that's, especially in this time now where it's like so saturated. There's so many musicians. There's so many songs that you hear every day. You have to have something that feels off kilter enough to like hook into people's like brains. Yeah,
and it feels. I'm not saying it's bad on purpose, but because it's a choice that you feel that choice, and we all hear that choice. It's like it's doing something that AI can't do. It's a choice that's coming from an authentic place. I'm not totally against using AI or anything like that. I think AI is interesting, but it kind of eliminates the opportunity to develop and evolve in some ways. I don't think anyone's disagreeing
because it's only taking from things that already existed. So it's like you can kind of recreate, but you can't really push forward with that.
And so the stuff that I tend to listen to is the stuff that's taking chances, that's unique, and that's like. Or stuff that's like really funny or saying something weird and unique, and like the harsh reality of the internet age is that there's not really an audience for songwriters who are trying to say something, because sometimes to like really say something it requires like an attention span.
You have to like sit with it.
You have to sit with it, or you have to absorb it in a place with another person where like the experience of us, if we just put that on a speaker in front of us right here, listening to any piece of music is going to be seriously different than when we're listening to it in headphones.
Right.
Because you can just click ahead, you can just keep moving. But if we're listening to something on a record, it's a pain in the ass to change the record. So you're just you're surrender to it.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, I don't know if I'd imagine you've had this too. Like, I feel like so many songs, even songs that like don't feel like they're talking about anything. If you appreciate it enough, if you like it enough, there's been songs that I liked for years, and then I'll have like listened to it on my like 80th listen, and I'm like, oh, like this is about like that's about his dad. You know what I'm saying? Or like you'll catch a thing where you're just like, oh, I thought this was like kind of just a fun song about da da da, and you'll catch a little piece. But now I feel like it's harder for people to have to sit with it long enough to like really get everything that was intended with the song. Yeah,
like What's Going On is a protest song. But like I didn't really know that for the first like probably 80 times I listened to it, because it just feels so good. It feels like
I'm grooving to this.
And I think actually the lyric is kind of a double entendre. It's kind of it's a general thing. It's not like, hey, it's not a protest song. It's kind of like, you know, what's going on in my family, what's going on in my community. You know, what he's singing about is incredibly sad, but yet the music is like, it's like feels like it's like healing, and it feels like something that you want to do. You want to listen to this and dance with other people and be in the company of other humans.
Yeah.
The new stuff is written to keep your attention on a streaming platform.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's better or it's worse. Like, it's just it is truly a different art form. The art of songwriting for popular music now is just, it's a completely different job than what it was in the 1960s and before.
Do you think, like, obviously we're not putting a judgment on it?
No, I make sure I don't want to judge because I think it's high art, even what the new people are doing.
Do you think, I mean, at least I don't make music, but like, do you think for like music artists that are like coming out now, do you think that's like, it sounds like it'd be way more challenging because it's like, because you're aiming in a different, before it felt like it was just like, oh, I just have to make stuff that's like really good and then eventually like, obviously like right label, right time, right place, like it'll catch on. Yeah. Now it feels like there's like an extra added dimension of like, I've got to make like, I've got to have the right snippet to like blow. Does it seem harder to you than it maybe was previously, or is it just different?
I think it's probably harder for some people and easier for others. Like before, what got to your ears was dictated by the money. The record label had to pay to make the record all the way till about 2005 or so. Mm-hmm. And when the internet hit, it became like
kind of democratized.
It could democratize, like things would sprout up. You'd see a Tyler the Creator kind of sprout up with Odd Future. So I remember like, oh, what's that? Mm-hmm. It definitely was something that was coming up from the roots, and now it's just like it's hard to like get a record deal that's worth anything. They're basically record companies are basically just like websites now. I don't even know why they exist. Maybe for brand building or whatever. But So like what people are talking about is different because it's being dictated by different people. I don't want to come off as like a douchebag, but like people still read books in the 60s. Like everybody, you had like, I don't know, it was just different.
It very much is like, they're very much like on college campuses, there was very much a culture of like, this is the new hot book. Right? Yeah. Like this is the novel that everyone across college campuses, we're all reading this novel. Yeah. And I guarantee you that does not exist today. And I'll also say that did not exist when I was in college. So it's not like a brand new thing. I'm not trying to shit on young people right now, but like I'm talking like even when I was in college, reading was not nearly as cool as it was in previous generations.
It's evolution. I'm not gonna be one of these guys that says that our culture has devolved. But
literacy rates are falling. I will say that.
Yeah, I know. People
are getting actually worse at reading.
There's definitely silver lining to it. But when people's attention spans are so short, it changes the game. It doesn't devalue things, but it just changes the game. There's different incentives. I worry that music is not well equipped right now to meet the moment politically. Like we don't have any Zach De La Rochas. Kendrick is probably the closest thing to it, but like if you look at a Zach De La Rocha lyric, it's like the cops are pigs. It's totally direct.
Well, I feel like this kind of points back to the thing that you were talking about, which is that like it's so much harder to get popular while also like sending a message out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And like Kendrick feels like he almost like slid in under the door like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know what I'm saying?
You run the risk of like being really preachy and really cheesy.
Right. There's like a line where it's like you got like to be saying something, but also you have to wrap it in a thing that like feels fun for you. You got to wrap it in a casing where like people still want to like dance to it and they still want to like hear you.
Yeah, I mean we did conscious rap. We did that.
We did conscious rap. We was really.
And now I hear that shit. I'm like, oh please! I was in the Bay Area. I went to college between '94 and '98, and it was all conscious rap.
That's really Common was going crazy.
Common going crazy. It was. I mean, the beats were fire. Yeah. Diggable planets and stuff. I mean, because those were like the last years where the youth read books, man. Because once the internet came out and it was like, you know, more about the quick fix, people's mindset's a little bit different now.
Can I ask you something, Eli?
Please.
94 to 98, you was on the Berkeley campus.
Yeah.
You were listening to a lot of conscious rap.
Yeah.
What type of hats were you wearing at that point?
Oh, bro, that was before my fedora stage.
Woo! This is pre-fedora.
Yeah, pre-fedora stage. Yeah, I was going to a lot of the jam sessions.
Yeah.
After college, so that was the fedora stage.
Did you ever own a Kangol?
Yes, I did.
It's just, I had to ask because the ingredients are all there.
I played in a motherfucking Jamiroquai cover band.
Woo! Yo, shout out Jamiroquai.
We were called Soulicious.
And you have to be. You have to be.
You gotta have soul in your. We did brand new heavies covers too. Yeah, it was the time, man.
Did you have any of those Jamiroquai hats that he was pulling off?
Oh, no, I couldn't do that
had
shit, man. Yeah, no.
He had a hat collection that was kind of unparalleled.
No.
And when you were wearing your Kangol, was it forwards or backwards? Were you wearing it like Samuel L. Jackson, or were you wearing it like codename Kids Next Door?
I think I was wearing it backwards.
Okay, Samuel style.
Yeah, but then like a lot of the jazz piano players in Los Angeles at the time when I was living there started wearing them, and I was like, nah, I'm going to fedora now. Something way cooler.
Some could argue it was a step backwards, going from Kangol to fedora.
I mean, not in my world, man.
In the jazz world,
yeah, man. You know, big suits with the. It was the Zoot Suit revival time too, man.
I missed this a little bit. I wasn't quite like out and about.
Yeah, if you want to get laid in Silverlake, you had to learn how to swing dance, and then move to salsa.
Okay,
which that's what and like, you know, I know about this because I played that was my musical as part of my musical DNA was playing in swing bands and playing in salsa bands.
Yeah. And
it was cool to see the scenes morph. It went from one thing to the next.
You were swing dancing? Or were you playing at swing dance shows?
I was playing swing dance shows, playing at like big salsa shows too. Like the big salsa shows, man, back you have no idea, man. It's just it was insane. Yeah. Like the most beautiful people coming out dancing salsa. J-Lo had this club on Wilshire that was kind of fire.
Whoa. Was Diddy ever there?
Probably. I never saw him. I saw her one time, but
we gotta get ready to get out of here. But I'll just I'm gonna go to a couple of lyrics that were submitted by our listeners. We haven't really talked about this artist on the pod yet. She hasn't come around, but somebody submitted a Taylor Swift lyric. Mm-hmm. We've got a submission from somebody named Jill B that says the lyric is, "I was too ahead of the curve became a sphere." How does that hit you?
I was too ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm. She's out here.
Became a sphere. I love that lyric for how it sounds and how it feels coming off of your mouth. Mm-hmm. I think Taylor Swift is a genius for putting words together in ways that are colloquial enough to just roll off a 12-year-old girl's tongue, and anyone else's for that matter.
Totally.
So like on that level, it's heavy. On that level, like everything Taylor does is heavy. On the level of like, what does her things mean? What does her stuff mean? Mm-hmm. It's not for me to decide. I don't feel any kind of personal connection.
Are your kids into Taylor Swift at all?
My daughter was really into Taylor Swift, but then I played WAP for her one time.
She was like, "It's a wrap."
She's like, "That's it. That shit up. That's it, man. I'm listening to R&B and hip hop."
Yeah.
No, her transformation did happen around that time, but not because of that.
Sure.
But Taylor's. I mean, she's a wordsmith, but I think her genius as a songwriter is just that. It's about there's even a study.
She has little phrases. She has little phrases that just really connect with people in a way that's like.
But she's also telling her own story. So she's like developing this whole like brand and a narrative of her life. But like her fans view their lives through her life, and the stuff that she talks about really connects with people. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know what? Before we get out of here, we were talking about AI before. I feel like I have to ask you this question. Do you feel like there are any ways in which like what's happening with AI and music is going to like help us take steps forward? Like, is there any positivity in it?
Yeah, I think the era of producers polishing sound in front of a computer is going to go away. You know, anybody can do it now. The bar for creating massive, incredible productions is just being lowered and lowered and lowered and lowered. Every piece of software that comes out just makes it easier and easier and easier. So that's cool. Like for people who want to create commercial music that maybe didn't take any music lessons when they were a kid, like you can get into this thing, which is great. Another positive thing, because I'm just going to keep it completely positive, because the negative things are obvious.
Yeah,
people are going to lose jobs, blah, blah, blah.
We know.
The other thing for me is that I'm from the 1900s, man. Yeah. I can play Bach.
Yeah.
I can play Mozart. I can play Brahms. I can show my work. You know what I mean? I can do what I do in front of other people, and for me, that's a huge blessing. I think it's the age of AI is going to bring people to live concerts. And not to say that you can't use AI. Like I'm developing a project right now where we create sound improvised on stage with me and a cello player, and we have outputs to another computer that is creating images off of what we play. So like if I play a C, something happens. If I play a different note, something happens, but maybe to the left. If I play something loud, something gets closer. It feels like it gets closer to you. Whoa. So like we're playing with image that's responding to improvised sound. So like we're using AI for this to make it dope. Like we're modulating AI images with sound. But the art is coming from the human being, and it is being expressed through a computer, as opposed to the result of one guy like Skrillex, sitting there like drawing in automation for 6 hours. Not to take anything away from the genius, but it's more impressive to me when we're all sitting in a room together and someone does something, and then we all look at each other like, "Wow, did you see that just happen? That was amazing." Yesterday I saw Audra McDonald in Gypsy. Whoa. Everybody was just so blown away that I'm sure everybody in that room is still talking to their friends and neighbors about what they saw. It reverberates and it heals when you're in those kinds of situations. AI is gonna kind of pull back the curtain, I think, on a lot of it, which is ironic for a lot of people because they think it's going to destroy music. I think it's only going to help live music.
That's really interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way.
You got to be positive too, because you can't fight the shit.
It's coming.
I mean,
it's here.
It's here. It's already here. Like I can use AI to make demos. And I've done this a couple times, like making demos we made a demo for Lady Gaga with Gaga's voice. They asked me to do it, and we've done it a couple times, and both times it was just like, why did we play this for her? It was awful. Because it just takes.
Doesn't have the spirit behind
it. It doesn't have the spirit behind it. I would never use AI and publish something. I would only use it to, there's different levels of what AI is to a musician. Like an AI, like you can draw notes into the computer, and then it will AI those notes that you drew as if a real player played them. So like that kind of AI I can see maybe using, but I don't. I think you lose so much when you don't get the violin player there just to play it. Sure. So I'm gonna stand strong on the things I could stand strong on. But like if there's a piece of software that comes that's gonna save me an hour of EQing something, then I'll probably take that.
Eli, thank you so much for being here.
Oh man, it's such a pleasure, man.
Before we get out of here, is there anything that you want the people to know? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to?
No, man. I mean, just keep supporting SNL and keep supporting live music when you can. Being with other people and forging communities through comedy and music is just the greatest thing. Look out for my projects. You can follow me on Instagram, Elijah Jams. And that's ELIJAHJAMS.
Let's do it.
My kids make fun of me for that,
and they have to. They have to. That's the role. They
have to.
Yeah,
but I'm from the 1900s, so it's okay.
Eli, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Appreciate you coming on, bro.
Yeah, man, my pleasure.
Yes, sir. My Favorite Lyrics is a production by Disco Nap. If you guys like what you hear, leave a review and tell a homie about the show. And make sure to follow us at My Favorite Lyrics Pod on all social platforms, except for Twitter. We offer that. You can learn more about this week's guest and the My Favorite Lyrics team by checking out the show notes. And thank you to the guys that made this show happen. Our executive producer, Laura Mandel, our associate producer, Carmen Kerrigan, Chris Mueller, who engineered the episode. We'll catch y'all next week.